I wanted to have our first virtual staff meeting to go over the walkthrough data from first quarter and additionally talk about some of the changes to the walkthrough for second quarter and the rest of the year and introduce some of the concepts of the SAMR model, which is something we're going to talk about a lot more through the course of the year in our effort to increase rigor and authentic learning for our students utilizing the technology that we have in place. So, in an effort of full disclosure, this is not my first time through this data. I keep messing up on the recording, so hopefully we'll make it through with no problems this time. As you look at our walkthrough data for the first quarter, there were 185 walkthroughs done, completed by Ms. Leiser, Ms. Burns, Mr. Weitzel, myself, along with some people from ASC as they were here. So 185 walkthroughs through first quarter in 2 to 3 minute snapshots. I realize this is not a picture of everything that's going on at all times. What it is little small snapshots of 2 to 3 minutes that show what is going on to start showing some trends, and we do see trends through the data that I wanted to bring to your attention. You'll see in this first chart that approximately half the time classes are working as a whole group, and the other big part of that is the other 40% of the time, oftentimes it's individual work. So the context in which students are working throughout the days and throughout the quarter is whole group and then individual. You can see that the learning objective was identifiable, aligned to the bullseye, and correlated with the district curriculum map. Differentiated instruction is hard to see in 2 to 3 minute steps in classes. So I think it is there at a much higher rate, and we are not seeing it during the walkthrough. So one of the things we're going to do is make sure that we either check or look for that because I don't think that data is accurate. As far as instructional strategies, over 185 walkthroughs, you see some trends. And one of them is students are spending about a third of their time in practice and also a lot of time note-taking. And the other big one was the cues and questions. So these are all very good research-proven instructional methods. What I'd like to see over the next quarter is a little bit more branching out to some of the other ones, so it's not 6 hours a day of cues and questions followed by practice. And this could have a lot to do with the fact that it is within the first quarter and you guys are setting the tone and building the knowledge for what is to come in class, what is the projects and some of the bigger assignments. As we look at Bloom's taxonomy, you will see that remember is a third of the time, followed at 31% by understand, and then almost 22% at apply. And then as we go up, the percentages get a little bit smaller. And again, this could be attributed to the fact that it is first quarter. You start off with reviews, you set procedures, and you start building that base knowledge to move kids. The more we get into analyze, evaluate, and create, the more engaged your students are going to be, the more we're going to be looking, as we look at the SAMR model, to redefining education, to bringing in authentic projects. All of those will push us up to analyze, evaluate, and create. And next week, I'll send out another virtual meeting talking about our ACT data. And you will see in that data that depending on the subject area, a third to a half of our students are in the strand right below college and career ready. And I think how we move our kids on the ACT, how we move them in class, is to move the questions and the assignments to a more authentic learning base. So if you're in English, what do writers do? If you're in math, what do mathematicians do? And really move them up to the analyze, evaluate, and create. As far as technology goes, we see the smartboard and multimedia showing a lot. And then students can articulate the objective, and like we said earlier, it's aligned. So we are doing the work that will help students be college and career ready most of the time, which is really, really good to see. As far as student technology, the interactive tablet, which is the iPad, is often used. And then we will talk about a change to the walkthroughs for this quarter. I'll start a new one here. I want to pick on Mr. Altenburn. I won't save it, sir. as we go down, and I know you can't see all of it on here, it's just the way the iPad looks on my computer, and I apologize for that. So the first few questions are the same. The context: are we working whole group, pairs, individually? Is there fidelity to the curriculum? Are their learning objectives aligned? Is there differentiated instruction? The student interview, primary instructional strategy, Bloom's taxonomy, down to technology and learning. Are students using the technology pieces that we have in the school, whether it is media, laptop or student computer, the interactive tablet, creating multimedia, using the whiteboard or the smartboard? And then we go down to, and I know you can only see 3 of them, I apologize. What is the SAMR model? So substitution, augmentation, modification, or redefinition. And that is something that we're going to start looking for and define now, and then hope to move to from substitution and augmentation to modification and redefinition. You kind of see the line there, and it's similar to what you see on Bloom's taxonomy when you move up into the higher level thinking. So in substitution, technology acts as a direct tool to substitute with no functional change. I'm going to give an example in a minute, but that would be using the iPad to type a paper instead of write it. Augmentation, technology acts as a direct tool, substitute with functional improvements. Up to, technology allows for significant task redesign, to redefinition, which is where we want to spend some of our time on these projects and maybe the end of the quarter, end of the semester projects that students are doing, where technology allows the creation of a new task, previously inconceivable. And I'm going to send a link to this website, but as you go down, if you were to look at writing a short paper, substitution would be, like I mentioned earlier, using a word processor to replace a pen and pencil or paper in a writing assignment. Augmentation could maybe include some text-to-speech functions, so maybe students could speak some of the things that they are trying, some of the ideas they're trying to get on paper, and that would aid in the writing process. Modification would move to document created using word processor and text-to-speech function is shared on a blog. So now we're getting to a broader audience, and this is something that you couldn't readily do with a paper and pencil. And from a blog, you can get feedback, and there's certain blogs and places where you can post and get feedback that is probably better for our students, and you can talk to Laura Gilchrist, Dustin Jameson, or I about some of those places if this is something you're interested in. But that adds the publishing piece, which is a more relevant and realistic piece to it. Redefinition would be, instead of a written assignment, students convey analytic thought using multimedia tools. Maybe they have a paper or an ebook that also has links to videos that they've created, or something like that. This goes on to show geography and travel, understanding Shakespeare, art, and then email etiquette. So it goes down through several different subjects to give you an idea of how you move from substituting or using the iPad for something that you're doing already, all the way up to redefining education, which is one of the things that we're looking for and we're going to focus on as we try to increase the Bloom's taxonomy level, the rigor, and kind of the relevance and the using technology piece that our students respond very well to. So I hope this information was helpful to you, and I also hope that if you have any questions, you will email or call me. Thank you.